Hey, thanks for joining us this week on our training session. We're going to be going over a couple of things on our agenda for training, and then also a couple of sales items as well. So the first thing I wanted to go over is we sent out late last night a revised combined closing package. The revision date on that's going to be 2/19/2018, and make sure going forward that you're using that combined closing package. And you'll be able to tell if it's the right one because at the very bottom in the footer it says 2/19/2018. Okay, and the revision that was made on that is the settlement statement has been broken down into two separate settlement statements. There's one now for the buyer and there's one for the seller. So there are two separate settlement statements. The buyer and the seller do not need to sign off on the same settlement statement. Okay. We did this for a couple different reasons. One was privacy, so that the buyer didn't need to know what the seller's net number was, and vice versa. The seller didn't need to know what the buyer was having to bring to the table. So, and the other reason was agents had requested that they get some type of, net sheet to give to the seller so that they knew exactly what they're going to be netting when they closed, minus the commission. So now that you have that, you can provide that to the seller settlement statement, and as long as there's no other lot rent that's due or some other charges that we have to apply, that number should remain the same. Okay. All right, so just make sure going forward you're using the most current combined closing package, and again that revision date is 2/19/2018. The next thing I wanted to address was when you're filling out the purchase agreements, make sure that if you're filling it out on the computer, you fill out the purchase agreement in its entirety on the computer. And what I mean by that, as far as the purchase price, sales tax, and all the check boxes at the bottom need to be completed out on the computer, and then you can take it, have it signed, or send it to us for DocuSign. And the same goes if you do it handwritten. Make sure you complete it by hand in its entirety, because what we've seen is some purchase agreements have been completed on the computer, and then some check marks were left off, and then they would go back and do them handwritten, and that could lead into let's just say miscommunications or misunderstandings as to when those check marks were done. So if it's done by computer and then some's done by hand, we don't know when those were done, and it could lead to some contractual issues potentially down the road. Okay, so there again, if you're starting off on the computer, make sure that you do it all on the computer, and then if you are doing it by hand, complete the entire purchase agreement by the hand. Okay. The next thing on the purchase agreement is make sure that if you can remember when you're filling out the purchase agreement, the additional deposit as well as the home warranty, make sure that those are zeroed out. And most people are leaving those blank because it's just easier to skip over those, but just make sure you put a 0 in there for those. That way it's clean and there's no misunderstanding as did they want a home warranty, even though down below I know they check no home warranty, but at least it's just a double check that it's zeroed out. Okay. The other thing is for inspection period on the purchase agreement. We do have an inspection period, as you're well aware of. If they do want an inspection period, you do not have to note in the additional terms the type of inspection that they're getting. If they're getting a pest inspection or home inspection, roof inspection, that's fine. That's up to them. They don't need to note that on there because they have the 7 days or whatever amount of days that they have to get whatever they need to have done. If it's not done by that 7 or 10 days, whatever is designated in the contract, that's it. They don't get any more time unless there's an extension. Okay? So there again, you don't need to put what inspections they're going to be put in the additional terms section, so don't put them anywhere on the contract. Okay. The next thing is furniture. This has come up recently. If you do have furniture that they want to give value to, for instance, it's a $30,000 house, and they want they're buying the furniture for $5,000. What you're going to do is, or what they can do, I would recommend it because it'll reduce the taxes, is if they're going to pay $30,000 for the home and the furniture, what you're going to have to do is write the purchase price up as $25,000, and then in the additional terms, what you're going to want to do is put that the buyer agrees to purchase the furniture for an additional $5,000 above the purchase price. Okay? And that means that they're buying the home for $25,000 and that the furniture is going to be $5,000, so that the seller will get $30,000. So, and what this does is this lowers the amount of taxes that the buyer has to pay at the time of closing. So there again, if you have a home that's even priced, let's just say it's $20,000 and the furniture is $5,000, you'll put on the purchase price as $15,000, and then in the additional terms, you'll note that the buyer is going to be paying $5,000 for the furniture in addition to the purchase price. Okay? So if you guys have any other questions about that, definitely give us a call. I can explain it to you, or shoot me an email if you have any questions about that. Or if you're going to write it up and you just want us to double check that language, definitely shoot us an email or give me a call and we can help you out and make sure you have the right language in there, okay? And that does it for this week as far as training. Each week we'll have different training topics. And as far as sales, you guys are doing fantastic, getting lots of listings. There's lots of sales going on. One shout out that I wanted to give was to Sharon in Brooksville. She did 6 sales in 1 week. So she looks like she might get that top performer award for 2018. But 6 sales in 1 week is fantastic. There are a lot of moving parts. Those haven't closed yet, but getting them under contract's half the battle. So if you guys need anything, once again, we're always here. Give us a call and give us a shout. Thanks. Bye.